football's been money mad for quite some time, and this is not a direct dig at West Ham, as you'll go on to hear, is football in general, in particular Premier League football. The Premier League clubs, the people at FIFA who have been caught with their hands in the till more times than I can care to remember, UEFA as well. It appears to be a load of people who are sat around rubbing their hands thinking, how much more money can we get out of these fools who are loyal to their team, and because they're loyal to their team, are suckers for a cash grab. And just at the point when, just at the point where I thought because of the coronavirus, because of factories being shut down and people losing their jobs, just at that point when I thought that football might be in for a bit of a reality check in terms of, I think, transfer fees, particularly in terms of money wasted on agents, which just goes out of the game and is never seen again, and particularly footballers' wages, when I thought that they would get to a point where people would take a bit of a reality check, it shows no sign of relenting. Not only does it show no sign of relenting, there seems to have been cranked up another phase of money extraction from us long-suffering fans. And when I say long-suffering fans, it sounds as if it's a cliche, it sounds like a throwaway line, but it really, really isn't, because I think as football's always been known as the working class game, basically. That's it. It's not cricket, it's not rugby. Football has been the working class game. What does that mean? Well, it means that people like you and I will go out to work, and we pay our money, and it's a means of relaxing. We support our team, we follow our team. Not that cricket fans or rugby fans or boxing fans don't follow teams or fighters or anything else, but it's always been known as the working class game. But what runs in parallel with it being a working class game and it being a working class sport is that they're working class people. And in the main, they're just people with normal jobs. But increasingly, those normal people with normal jobs actually turning out to be normal people with not so many jobs, because unemployment's at an all-time high. And it's not just a figure that you look at on the news. We've got 3 companies just locally that have closed down. They can't afford to trade anymore. And as we get to the end of, I think it's this calendar month, and the furlough scheme stops, there's going to be more and more firms letting their people go. I'm working, my work, I was full-time before this all started. I am now part-time, and to a certain extent have struggled. And I'm not on my own, far from it. So one of the places where I was going and doing bathrooms, he works at Heathrow. He just lost his job, and he's had that job for 30 years. Now he's got a redundancy pay, but he's very much saying, okay, I've got 9 months to find something. And increasingly, we find ourselves struggling for money because of the way the economy is. But at that very point, when the country is struggling, that is the point where football has decided to charge us another 15 quid to watch our teams play per game. Not for any game, by the way. If you want to watch your team play football and you want to watch your team play every game, you're still going to have to subscribe to Sky. You're still going to have to subscribe to BT. And you're going to have Amazon Prime as well. But now what they're saying is, those games, I couldn't tell you what it is, those 160 games that were covered under that umbrella, anything additional, you're going to have to pay £14.99 to watch. And I just think it's an amazingly brazen cash grab from a bunch of people who are still basically millionaires. Now, let me get something straight. Initially, when the EFL, when we were in the League Cup, I said numerous times in these videos I didn't mind paying a tenner. What's the difference between that and this? Well, I'll tell you what the difference is. The EFL, the English Football League, is a Championship, League One, League Two. They desperately need the money. They don't have this big Sky deal. They just don't. They're reliant on gate receipts. I didn't mind paying that. Why? Because I knew that money was directly going to keeping English Football League clubs going. The Premier League's a very, very different animal. The Premier League is awash with money. Even without our ticket money, the Premier League is awash with it. You've only got to go and look at some of the transfer fees being paid. And it ain't just Chelsea who can afford to spend 75 million on Kai Havertz. It seems like Newcastle who can go and buy a fullback for 15 million. It's teams like Aston Villa who can go and spend 28 million pound on a forward from Brentford. It's Everton. It's it's everybody who's, all right, granted, not West Ham at the moment, but it seems to be everybody who can afford to spend this money. So what they're saying is, allow us to keep spending this money. What they're saying is, you need to pay more, you and me, so as we can pay our millionaires. And that's what the players are. And I'm going to get to the players because I think the players have got to do their bit. Now, I know when the counter argument will be, look what Marcus Rashford is doing for to enable people to have meals, hot meals. It's a really good cause, and quite right. There shouldn't be anyone in the country who doesn't have a hot meal every day, right? I totally concur with that, right? It shouldn't really be his job to do that. That should be sorted out by society in general anyway. People will say Mark Noble gave, 30, 40, 50 grand to the local hospital. Great, it's still a good thing to do. But as good as those things are, and there will be numerous examples from players, it doesn't address the problem. And that is that football is hemorrhaging money. And the reason it's hemorrhaging money are for two reasons. Number one is its transfer fees. Number two are the players' wages. So the players took a deferral in wages. I think they took, it might have been a 30% deferral of their wages. Whatever it was, our owners injected £30 million in terms of a rights issue, in the form of a rights issue into the club. All that money will pretty much be eaten up by players' wages. Yet still, we try and attract players on massive money. But what they're saying is, you give us an extra £15 for every game you watch. You people who are struggling most for money, give us an extra £15 for every match you watch, but we're going to still continue to pay the millionaires. At what point are the players going to turn around and say, hold on a second, we're a little bit culpable here? I'll give you an example, right? 2 weeks ago, something like that, the car broke down. Just a little car, a little Honda Jazz. It broke down. My missus said the car ain't working and all the rest of it. We called the mechanic out. It came round and basically the car wouldn't start, and it turned out to be a little fuse thing, right? He saw it straight away. He was there 5 minutes. He had the thing in his van. He plugged it in. He started the car and we said, oh, well, mate, cheers. What do we owe you? He said, don't worry about it. What, really? Yeah. He said, honestly, don't worry about it. He said, it's a little fuse. I said, well, come on, we've got to give you something. He said, well, look, you can give me 40 pence for the fuse if you want to. But honestly, don't worry about it. He said, I had a job in the street anyway. It was a mobile mechanic. I had a job in the street. It's fine. And I said, are you sure? He said, yep, just next time you have anything sort of major done, hopefully you'll trust me and then you can, give us a shout and I'll be happy to do the work. Very, very decent of him. Basically, he was saying, I haven't done anything, mate. It was 5 minutes of my time. Don't worry about it. Then you get to Jack Wilshere. Jack Wilshere's just accepted almost £4 million payoff to not play for West Ham this season. Now, I understand you'd be a fool not to take it, but Jack Wilshere would have taken the best part of £15 million out of West Ham. Yet West Ham feel it that they, number one, I think, why didn't Jack act like the mechanic? Do you remember Mauricio Taricco, who signed a contract with West Ham, got injured straight away, said, don't worry about it, we'll have to null and void the contract. I can't play football for you. If I can't play football for you, really, I shouldn't really be taking any money off you. Very, very decent thing to do. If you remember the Egyptian striker Mido as well. All right, it didn't work out, but when he came over to West Ham, he wanted to prove himself, and he turned everyone else some 30 grand a week, whatever. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll do it for £1,000 a week. Just want to prove myself, prove my fitness, want to get back playing football. Well, clearly actions speak louder than words, and his actions in terms of him taking what is by footballer standards a pittance to play football basically backed up his word. I'm not saying there are footballers who don't do the right thing, but at the moment there are too many who don't. And what's happening is the footballers' wages, the agents' fees and the transfer fees are bleeding the clubs dry. And what's happening is the clubs aren't, I don't know, they're not getting a stamp on it. Maybe they're not stamping it out because the contracts are watertight, or maybe because the PFA don't want to deal with it. But what's happening is that additional cost is now being passed on to the fans. And I think it is inherently wrong to ask a society and a fan base, which, as I've said, is a working class fan base, which is struggling for money, struggling for jobs and a record high unemployment, to be asking them for 15 quid a month whilst everyone else drives around Ferraris and carries on living in mansions. It's just wrong. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I understand the capitalism of football, and I've lived it for many, many years. I'm not preaching that they should be paupers, but there comes a time where you don't kill the golden goose. If you want that goose to keep on laying golden eggs, basically, you better look after it. Don't stick it in the oven. And that's really what I think the players are doing now. And it's just really annoyed me that the demand for the money has been passed on to us fans. So that's the morality of the situation, which I think is absolutely wrong. The deferral was no help at all by the players. It is none. Basically, that money's all been paid now. Deferral, what, just to help them over the next 3 months, the clubs? It didn't help. It didn't help. What would really help, basically, if you were earning £10 million a year, what would really help each player that's earning £10 million a year if you take 7 or 6 until we're out of this? Because I know plenty of people that are in work and are in normal jobs who have either lost their jobs or been asked to reduce their hours or reduce their pay. Or the overtime has gone, or something has gone. Or you even got the furlough scheme where people have been asked to take 80% of their wages. So somebody that's on £1,500 a month has to take 80% of their wages. But a footballer who's on, I don't know, take your pick, £500,000 a month, they can't take 80% of their wages. And not as a deferral, have your wages cut. But no, it won't happen. And it gets passed on to us. And that's the moral. It's morally wrong, and no one can convince me of otherwise. The counter argument will be, well, if you were in that situation, you'd take it. Well, I'm not in that situation. I haven't been able to take it, and that's why it should be left to somebody at the top to actually make the right decision. But the people at the top have got together and they've decided this is the right way to go. But they're going to suffer because of this. And I'll tell you why they suffer, because not a single person in that room or on that Zoom call, or on that conference call, has had the common sense to sit down and think, well, hold on a second. 15 quid's too much. We're not actually going to get that, because it's almost impossible. So I looked at, we cut down our Sky deal recently, looked at it, and we had the broadband, we had the telephone, we had the TV. I think it was over £100 a month for Sky. We cut it. That had to go. It had to go. We certainly couldn't afford BT on top of that. And if it wasn't for a fellow West Ham fan, whose name I won't mention because he gets embarrassed, and well, actually, there's three fellow West Ham fans who've allowed me to watch games, and one of them's helped me out, particularly with the BT stuff. I wouldn't be able to do it. I can't afford BT as well. And Amazon Prime, what's that? Another tenner a week. So you've got to do all that and spend more and more money at a point where you have less and less money. At what point did someone in that meeting not say, this is too much? Number one, we're squeezing them. We're squeezing. You can't get blood out of a stone. We're squeezing them too hard. And at what other point did somebody not say, look, what's going to happen here is if we make it too expensive, they will illegal stream it. They will just get a stream from somewhere, because that's what's going to happen. I'm sorry to say it. It really is. And this is coming from somebody who was more than happy to pay that EFL money. But you know what? I think people will pay money for a stable stream. If they'd have pitched this right, if they'd have pitched it at a £5, then people might have thought, actually, do you know what? A £5, I can do that. It's not that much money. It's over the course of the season. If there might be 3 games a month that we don't watch on telly. It's 15 quid. See, the fact of the matter is the clubs are so greedy. So I know someone contacted me today and said, I keep on receiving messages from the club saying, please, can I convert the money the club owe me into club cash? What the club want to do, and this is obviously directly West Ham, somebody who has got a refund on their season ticket, they have money that they are due and owed from the club. They keep on getting begging letters or emails or texts, I don't know how it is, this is what they said to me anyway, from the club saying, can you please convert it into club cash? And if you do that, we'll give you 10% off. Basically, what they're saying is, we don't want to give you your money back. Can you basically have it in merchandise from the club shop, is what they're saying. And it's totally wrong. So there's a load of people that are owed money. There's a load of people who have bought season tickets for this year and have not been to a game yet. Are they? I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe the season ticket holders are going to be given the games for free, to be broadcast for free. Yeah, it just seems completely morally wrong. And if you listen to Sky, they're almost acting like they're doing the fans a favour. You know, we feel the need to allow fans to see the games. You're not doing anyone a favour. You're not doing the only people you're doing a favour are the clubs, the agents, and the players. You're certainly not doing fans a favour at all. In fact, you're fleecing fans at a time when they have got little enough money as it is. You are squeezing them and squeezing them. And quite frankly, I find it absolutely disgusting, as you can probably tell. But I do find it totally counterproductive, because you will find an illegal stream. And I do think there is a certain amount of value in a £5 where you as a fan think, actually, I don't want to search for the illegal stream. They're unreliable. They can cut in and they can cut out. But I would argue, actually, the people doing the illegal streams are doing more of a service to fans than the people up at Premier League HQ or wherever it may be. because nobody there has actually thought 15 quid is going to put people off. Pitch it at a fiver. But ridiculously, there will be a cut-off point. 15 quid will convince a load of people not to do it. They will illegal stream. There'll be a cut-off point where actually they'll get more 8 quids than 15 quids, if that makes more sense. The total, you'll basically get more people buying at 8 quid than you will at 15. And at some point, those 8 quids add up to be more than a handful of people at 15 quid, if you get what I mean. I've probably not done a great job of explaining it, but it's a prohibitive cost. The expense is too high. More of the same. It is very much Premier League. It's very much football. It's very much modern day football. And you'll hear the platitudes. We care about fans. Oh, they're great at platitudes of Premier League. They're great. They're great at virtue signalling. They really are. But actually, when it comes to it, and I mean all of them. Okay, I think Leicester have come out of a bit of credit, because Leicester had turned around and said, no, we don't want to do this, and we shouldn't do this. So we'll leave Leicester out of it, who are a good club and a well-run club, we know this. Well, the rest of them, they'll virtue signal, we want fans back, we care about fans, that, banners everywhere about how much they care, and they'll clap for the NHS, and we'll do all of this stuff. Actually, the truth of the matter is, they don't give a damn. All it is a money train, and quite frankly, they just keep on extracting every penny they can from you and me. We'll take their pennies, and if we take enough pennies out of those idiots, then it all adds up, and we can afford to give more money to the millionaire players. We can afford to give more money to the agents. And what we can do about it, I don't know, because we are sort of addicts. We are sort of suckers, because we sort of tend to look at ourselves as football fans. And when the attraction of that star signing, we start thinking, oh, okay, he's 60 grand a week. Maybe if we pay 80 grand a week, we might be able to get him. As fans, we want the club to do it. And again, you almost think it's not your money. But it is your money, because at the end of the day, at the point they can't afford it, they'll come knocking at your door for more. When really, let's be fair, they should be knocking at the player's door and saying, oi, what's it? That's not a door, is it? That's not someone knocking two knuckles together. They should be knocking at the player's door and saying, oi, give some of your money over. And all I would say is, at the moment, the PFA, the Players Football Association, is not fit for purpose in terms of what it does for fans. But that's not their job. They are a union for players. What I think needs to happen is actually the fans, the people that represent the fans, the FSA, should be of equal importance to the PFA. Because I don't know, they seem to operate in this bubble. People used to say, without fans, there is no football. Well, actually, they've sort of proven that there's no fans in grounds and they can make it work. But to make it work, they still need us. And with Sky subscriptions dropping, BT subscriptions dropping, you would have thought it would have been a lesson to them. But no. And the great irony is that if you want, even though Sky are saying, oh, we're doing this as a favour, BT are saying we're doing this as a favour, if you want these games, one of these games that's not featured for your club, you still got to go onto Sky box office and book it and pay Sky or BT or wherever it is the 15 quid. Totally and utterly out of order.